So I hope you all had a great St. Patrick's Day weekend, which I'm sure a lot of you extended into yesterday. Excuse me there. Had to, do a burp inside, not a big burp, but just a inside burp, if you will. You close your mouth and that's how it happens. Anyway, I hope you all had a safe and happy St. Patty's Day weekend, which, like I said, I'm sure you extended into yesterday, the 18th. For me and my family, not too much going on. I will say that my application for Safeway finally went in. Albertsons, which is the owners of stores like Safeway and Lucky's and all that, apparently had some issues on their end for a while where I'm sure, thinking about it now, I'm not the only one that had problems doing an e-signature. And it's not the kind of e-signature you use the mouse for, like you maneuver the mouse to try to do, or you use a USB writing pad connected to your computer where it has a stylus pen and you could do it that way, or touchpad. It's the kind you just type in. So it didn't work for a few times, and then finally, this past weekend, it did. And ironically, it happened during a time when my mom is talking to my middle sister, my second oldest sister, and she lets her know about something I did. And what I did is something that a lot of people that have, multiple platforms that they share the material off of, share, the thoughts and creativity off of, will do. And that is, I posted a lot of my links, to Facebook, basically. I was trying to think about what I was going to say there. I posted a lot of them to Facebook publicly. And then when I got questioned a little bit by my niece and my oldest sister, her daughter, my oldest sister and her daughter, my niece, I should say, I took it down and then I re-uploaded it, but I used one of the more customized lists that I did, where it's basically everybody else but no family. So everybody else sees it but no family. So that's about it. And my middle sister, because she was also drinking a little bit, and that's what she does when she calls my mom up sometimes. She will be drinking, so she might be a little tipsy, a little buzzed. She tells her, but she tells her in a way that basically sets my mom off, and I have to straighten everything out. And then my mom kind of understands, okay, I see what you're doing, because she's very old school, and she knows about technology and stuff. She's just not too. I guess you could say she's not just too, fond of, things like that because of a lot of stuff that goes on in the world today, even if she understands it or not. But she is learning, so give her credit on that. Anyway, that's the night it went in, and my mom's like, that's God right there helping you out, and it is. So keep it in your prayers that, I get into Safeway maybe, and it'll be just like, father like son. It's going to be like, mother like son, because, my mom used to work for Safeway, and now I might be heading in that direction myself. Who knows? But that wasn't the only thing that happened. Of course, this past week, a week ago, this past Sunday was daylight savings time, and today being the first day of spring, daylight's a lot longer, basically almost into 8 o'clock hours. So this might be the longer day, out of daylight savings time, throughout the year, one of the longer days, because it's the first day of spring, so we'll see what happens. But it's supposed to be more of a balancing out. But that's what happened this past week, was mainly that, but also the fact that my sister a week ago on Sunday, actually going into very early Monday morning, got back from Kansas. Now you might say, well, what happened? Did her flight get delayed and she was late? No, what happened is she and her husband had to go back there for the second time. And the reason they went back there is because of the fact that they had to take care of a few other items. And she still got things to take care of too. She's got to go back and forth, every now and then. And the fourth time I'll be going with them possibly to see my dad. And hopefully I'll have my taxes back by then to, be able to do, take care of stuff there, do some stuff there. Anyway, long story short, she used the credits she got from Spirit Airline because, as I mentioned before, she had some issues with the receptionist at the Spirit Airline area. in Las Vegas when they made a stop there. And, of course, they were a little tipsy, a little buzzed because they had time to kill. And basically, long story short, it just led to them basically being kicked off the flight for 24 hours. They had to take Southwest back the next day, but they did get home. Now, with that said, the reason they went back this time is, one, she used credits from Spirit that she got because she complained, and justifiably, about the rudeness the receptionist gave her and her husband, even if they were a little tipsy, they shouldn't have been rude. And Spirit believed her because obviously they can detect that. It's kind of like what I told my brother-in-law. And I even showed him the evidence. I told him on Sunday, because we went over there for St. Patty's Day, and I showed him that basically back in December of 2022, I showed him the email, and I told him this is what happened to me. This is what happened to me with a bus, because he's going to be driving for Stan RTA now, the bus system out of Stanislaus County. And I showed him what happened, and I told him, yeah, that's the one thing you got to be aware of. You're going to be dealing with a lot of locals, if you will. No offense, a lot of locals out there possibly. And I told him what happened. I told him about the bus driver that one night being like not all there, just laughing, going ha ha ha, and all that, and listening to the not all their passengers, and it was just a mess. It was just a mess. And when I let Stan RTA know, and I said, check the cameras, it didn't take them long after I emailed them that to respond back and say, yeah, everything checks out. Everything checks out. So I don't know if that guy got let go, or he was retrained, and maybe if he is still doing it, he has somebody with him all the time. I don't know. But anyway, though, getting back to what I was saying, she complained, and justifiably so, about the Spirit receptionist, even though they were tipsy on the flight back. Her second time going there and coming back, and this time with her husband, because she complained, she got $600 credit, and she used that for her and her husband to fly back out this time around, but they didn't fly back. Because, like I said, they still had things to take care of, and what they did is they went and took care of some other things, and one of the things they did was gain possession of a car, 2014 Toyota Camry SE. They took possession of that because what I have told you before, I'll tell you again, this so-called friend, who's a false friend of my dad's for almost a decade, if not longer, probably was friends with her when I was out there in my last year in 2007. I don't know. Anyway, he co-signed for this car for her, and out of his money, not hers, his. And what's crazy is he gave her the okay to use the money, but the problem is he only gave her the okay to use the money on certain items, like food, gas, stuff like that, pay bills. She did more than that. She didn't She bought things that she didn't need to buy. She took trips, into different parts of Missouri, and she even used his money to take a trip down to Mexico. And how do we know this? Because basically in 2022, from what we can assume, they had an argument during the winter, and it was cold, it was snowing and icy. That's how it gets in Kansas. I should know because I lived there. And we can only assume, and a lot of neighbors probably feel the same way too, she might have pushed him, onto the ice. I don't know if they were arguing outside or something, or what was going on. I think that's what it was. I think it was outside, and she may have pushed him. That's what people are assuming. Now, what that did probably is fracture his hip, which he should have gone and taken care of then, but he is stubborn, and I think I now know where me and my sisters get our stubbornness from, especially when it comes to take caring of stuff. Hold on. Sorry, I was getting a little tongue-tied there. But like I said, I think I now know where me and my sisters get our stubbornness from when it comes to taking care of things that we need to take care of. Like, people get on me about my teeth, which I know I have to take care of, whether it's getting veneers, which it looks like I'm going to have to get, or I'm going to have to get them implanted or whatever. One of the two things is going to happen. I know it's going to happen. The only thing I want to do is if I have to get implanted or something like that with teeth, guess what? I ain't getting knocked out, because I know dentists can keep you awake. They can numb you up enough to where you can stay awake, and you might feel a little ting, but it won't be so bad. But there are veneers. Apparently, there are veneers out there now to where you send in the mold for of what your teeth are now, and they make you, I guess you could say, a section of teeth or certain versions of the teeth that need to be, replaced, and you could put those in, and then send the other two that you don't need back or something like that. It kind of works out that way. I have to look into it more. And my sister even sent me those because, look, she gets on me about it, and I know she does that out of love, I know, but she also realizes it gets expensive, because even with one tooth, it can cost you thousands of dollars, period. Anyway, long story short, anyway, like I said, long story short, he probably fractured his hip, didn't get it looked at because of his stubbornness, and just let it be until last year when I think he said he went to go to the restroom, sit down, take care of business, if you will. Sorry for that visual. But that's when he said all of a sudden he just couldn't move. It's like when he got up, suddenly something just happened and he fell. He couldn't really move as much. He tried to get up, he couldn't, he fell. And he was calling for help because the lady wasn't there. I don't know if she had been there before that, but he called for help. Thankfully, the neighbors heard him. And what they did basically is, they took him to the hospital. He got his hip taken care of, surgery, if you will. One leg's apparently shorter than the other now because of that. And basically he was in one assisted living home, didn't stay there long because I think they couldn't take his VA anymore, his medical. Went to another, and they couldn't take it for too long. The medical expenses were too much. And now he's in Manhattan, which thankfully, since the first time my sister saw him with her daughter, my niece, and then with her husband, and then again, he's doing a lot better. He's doing a lot better. He's gaining back weight and everything. He's doing a lot better. Anyway, long story short, and I know I just said that, and I do apologize if I'm kind of taking my time here, or it feels like I'm, spacing a little bit and all that, silence, and sometimes I'm trying to think about what I'm going to say, and I want to say it carefully. But anyway, long story short, she had to go back, like I said, this more recent time, because one of the things they had to take care of is get this car. Now, the last time they were there, the second time she went, the first time with her husband, they had the okay because, she had POA. She was given POA and everything. I think in lawman terms or legal terms, you know what POA is. And so she and her husband were able to look through things. Her husband and my dad looked through his stuff at his apartment to see what he needed and all that. And she went to the false friend's apartment to look through there as well, because by having POA and knowing a lot of this stuff was probably bought under my dad's money without him, knowing, because again, he probably only gave her the okay to do certain things like buy food, get gas, and, pay bills. And maybe buy some clothing here and there to go to, wear on, whenever. My sister saw that there was more stuff there, a lot more stuff, basically. And I'll just put it this way: this woman, as my sister puts it, was a slob, and she had not been back at the apartment she lived in for a while. She ended up on the run because I think word got out what was happening. So she was on the run. She had abandoned the place. or so we thought, because what my sister found out the second time around, and I think was confirmed the third time around, is the lady would go into her apartment at night, like when everybody was out. She would sneak in, like she used an extra key to get back in, or extra key she had made to get back in, and basically, take what she needed. Like she took a bed or something like that. She took what she needed, or what she felt she needed at the time. And I'm guessing her plan was to keep, going back and forth to, grab stuff that, she wanted to take. That is until my sister got there the second time and, basically said, yeah, you guys are going to have to lock this up, change the locks immediately so that way she doesn't get in, and only those that you let in are the ones cleaning out the apartment. And that's about it. And this lady left a lot of stuff behind to where you're thinking, why would she leave that behind? And that's the thing. We don't know. We don't know. Anyway, long story short, they, like I said, the third time they went around recently, they went back via flight, via Spirit. And basically, they drove back. They drove back because one of the things they had to get is a car that the lady bought in my dad's name, which I think I said this, was a 2014 Toyota Camry SE. And from what I looked online, these things cost about $10,000 to $15,000. That's a lot. That's a lot. Maybe more. Who knows? Anyway, she bought. She bought that with my dad co-signing with his money and all that. So now that my sister had POA, basically she now owned the car, or at least my dad owned the car. It's technically my dad's / my sister's, if you will. So, and this is like I said, this is a Toyota Camry SE. It's got like a touchscreen and all that. Anyway, they drove back and they got back on Sunday, late Sunday evening, very early Monday morning. And yeah, that was the most interesting thing there, if you will. That was the most interesting thing throughout the week. Not really much going on after that. Just a lot of other stuff going on, personal family stuff on my middle sister's end, if you will, that I've mentioned before. Yeah, that's really what's going on. And I'm not going to say much, but since I guess they've already mentioned it, and everything, according to my mom, that's what she told me. Maybe I don't know if she heard wrong enough, but apparently they've told everybody. I'm not sure if they told everybody, but I'm sure word has gotten out. My nephew and his wife are going to be expecting in September. That's all I'm going to say. That was that right there. That right there was what I mentioned that one time in the previous vlog where I said, and it was after Valentine's Day. It was after Valentine's Day, and my niece-in-law, my nephew's wife's birthday. That's the one thing I said. I said, there's a surprise they let us in on, but I'm not going to say any more than that. So yeah, basically that's what the surprise was. That's what the surprise was. It was that they are expecting. We don't know they don't know what gender yet, but they do know it's going to be a September, October baby. And that's about it. That's the only other thing that happened my mom basically said they finally let everybody know because they wanted to keep it on the download until they sent some cards out, which, we got some of them. So it's like they kept it on the download, or the down low, if you will. And yeah, that was about it. But again, not really much going on after that. Not really much going on except for yesterday, and I did an audio video on this. My computer decided to take a cuckoo on me. Thankfully, it's one of the computers that can be self-repaired. And what I mean by a cuckoo on me, basically it froze, so I had to unplug it and then let it go through its paces to self-repair itself. But yeah, not a good sign or anything. And obviously, like I said, and I talk about this more. I talk about this more in the, in the audio video. Yeah, I think Microsoft and Linux, those companies, they got a lot of talk. They got a lot of explaining to do about, how pausing updates really work, if you know what I mean. But anyway, yeah, again, not too much going on. My mom's got spring break coming up on the week of Easter, which is a big deal for her because it rarely happens. It rarely happens. Most of the time, they go by the school district schedule, and sometimes the school district schedule doesn't coincide with Easter, Resurrection Sunday, Resurrection Week, if you will. From my mom's point of view. Because what my mom will do, and she's done this before, is she will take the day after Easter, Resurrection Sunday off because she doesn't want to have to go back to work being all tired, depending on where we're going to spend Easter, Resurrection Sunday at. So, yeah, she'll take that day off, the next day, and then go back to work on a Tuesday. This time, she doesn't have to worry about that. This time, she can just relax, stay asleep, and all that. And whatever happens with me and my sister and my brother-in-law going back out to Kansas that week or a little after, I'll let you guys know because, hey, I might do a live stream. Maybe I'll do a video from there. You never know. You never know. But let me know what your thoughts are, guys, on this vlog here. I know it felt like I was a little all over the place, and maybe I sounded like I was spacing a little bit because, I was trying to think about what I was going to say. But let me know what your thoughts are. Comment down below. Live chat during the premiere if you're watching on YouTube. And I'm out.